me ask you a simple question. Why do some people learn about real estate and storage for years, but never actually buy a deal? I can tell you it's not because they lack information. It's because they never turn that information into consistent action. And in self-storage, momentum usually starts with one simple shift, and that is moving from learning mode into execution mode. So in this training, I'm going to show you the exact 30-day deal sprint plan that I have seen and used to turn beginners into real storage buyers. It's simple, it's practical, it's very, very straightforward. And if you follow it, you're gonna start building the habits that lead to your first storage deal. Hey, storage winner, you have finished the cash flow maps system and you now have a roadmap. Now it's time to fire up the engines. And in this session, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start to take you from learning to doing. Now, look, hopefully you have heard me loud and clear throughout the cash flow map system where it's about massive imperfect action. And so if you're watching this video, you should have already been taking action, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that off to the side for now. And I wanna walk you through what I call the 30-day deal sprint plan. And this plan is how you basically turn the knowledge that you have acquired into results, and where we're gonna put motion and start to create more momentum. So look, a map by itself is important, but it doesn't move you forward. If you were hanging out with me in Miami and I told you, hey, let's drive to San Diego, here's the map, let's plug it into the Jeep. That's great, we need that, but we then have to take the action of hopping in the car or in the plane and taking the next steps. So a map by itself isn't going to just move you forward. It's an important tool, but action does. And so look, I have watched countless investors go from stuck to success simply by following this rhythm that I'm going to share with you here. It's not complicated, so that's the good news. It's not glamorous, but it works every single time that you do it, okay? The goal for the next 30 days isn't perfection. Surprise, surprise. You're not surprised to hear me say that. It isn't perfection. In fact, we're never chasing perfection. It's about consistency. It's about building the habits that make you think and operate like an owner, not a deal chaser. Okay, now everything we've done so far feeds right into this. The storage wins triangle. Remember that storage wins triangle, which you should be seeing on the screen now? We got deal discovery, we got fearless funding, and then we got win the deal. Okay, those are our 3 milestones. The goal in that middle triangle is to buy your first storage facility. The reds are the obstacles and the challenges that oftentimes get in the way. Those green milestones, this is what's feeding right into this. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through what I call the LMAO method, and you're gonna see how each component here fits in to deal discovery, fearless funding, and then winning the deal, okay? When you do these 4 actions daily, you're running a real acquisition machine, and you're gonna start gaining a lot of clarity, confidence, progress, and momentum. Now, here is the LMAO method, and it's not laughing my off. It's not what you think. The L in the LMAO method is list building, right? Every business needs a steady flow of prospects, opportunities. And so L is for list building, and you want to make sure that you are adding at least 25 new mom and pop storage owners to your list every single day. If you have a virtual assistant, perfect task for them to be doing. If you don't necessarily worry about that right now. Use the cash flow map system, hop on Google Maps, and find and locate 25 new mom and pop storage owners based on everything I've shared with you. Again, I prefer that you have a virtual assistant do this because your time is more valuable. But if you don't have one, or maybe you just don't have the budget for it, or you just haven't found the right person, that's okay. Get in the habit of doing it because you're going to be picking up things along the way that are really helpful and important for you moving forward. So think of your list as your lifeline. Every conversation, every deal, every dollar starts with an opportunity. And usually that comes in the form of a list. And that sometimes, if you're looking at on-market listed facilities, that could be on Craigslist, LoopNet. At the end of the day, it's a list. It's an opportunity. The M is for meaningful conversations. And you know how, if you've watched the cash flow map system, or if you're a part of our Storage Wins community, you know how much I value relationships. Relationships start with connections, and connections start with conversations. And I prefer to refer to them as meaningful conversations. So I want you to have 3 to 5 meaningful conversations every single day. Make it a non-negotiable, at least 3 to 5 meaningful conversations. I'm talking with mom and pop storage owners. I'm talking with brokers, potential lenders, potential partners, wholesalers. Don't think of these, you're not pitching anything, you're just connecting. Okay, these are just connection calls. I want you to ask curious questions, because the more that you listen and the less that you talk, the better off you'll be. Communication is a two-way street, but I want you doing 80% listening, 20% talking. Remember, the one who asks the questions controls the conversation. And relationship capital is always going to precede financial capital. Relationship capital, I'll argue this with anybody, is the most important capital you could possibly raise. So that is M. And don't worry, I'm going to break this down for you over the next 30 days. I just want to give you a 30,000 foot view here. A is for analyze deals. Another word that you can substitute analyze with is underwriting. I want you to analyze or underwrite 1 to 2 facilities every single day. If you can commit to do this for the first 30 days, you are going to feel so much more confident. You're going to gain not just confidence, but momentum towards understanding what's a deal, what's not a deal. You're going to feel much more comfortable. One of our storage winners, Kate, who I interviewed on the podcast, and in one of the AMP training sessions, you'll have access to be able to watch that. She talked about how when she first joined our community, the challenging part for her was underwriting, analyzing deals, but she committed to this. And so she looked at 1 to 2 deals a day, every single day. And now it's one of her strong suits. And now she can look at a deal quickly and know if it's worth her time, energy, and attention, if it's not. So lean into this, because it's super important. Every single deal that you analyze is going to build a pattern of recognition. It's going to give you that confidence. And that confidence is going to feed into action. And action is going to feed into momentum, and so on. So you're going to start to be able to spot better opportunities the more that you lean into this. Super, super important. The O is for offers. All right. I always use baseball analogies because I grew up playing baseball my whole life. I ended up playing 1 year of college baseball. And I've always shared, if you're in the bleachers or in the dugout, you're not going to be able to get on base, right? In order to get on base, you got to step up to the plate. In order to step up to the plate, you either got to swing the bat, or if you're gonna get walked, or if you're gonna get hit by a pitch, either way, I need you in the game. And in order to get in the game, you got to submit offers. So I want to get you to the point where you're submitting 1 to 3 offers per week. This can be verbal, this can be written, it can be a simple 1 or 2 page letter of intent. The key here is that offers are going to create momentum. It's going to get you in the game. And when you make offers, you quickly learn how sellers think and how brokers are going to react, and how to negotiate, how to ultimately win these deals. So that's the LMAO method: list building, meaningful conversations, analyzing deals, and offers. Hey, quick pause. I want to invite you to a special workshop I am doing on Tuesday, May 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern to help you solve one of the biggest challenges that most aspiring self-storage investors have. Now, the first letter in the LMAO framework is list building. And that's an area where a lot of people get stuck because they have 47 different Crexy tabs open in LoopNet. They're looking at deals. Everything looks completely overpriced. You might make some phone calls, maybe even send some mailers, but your pipeline never fills. You're always chasing deals and trying to find deals instead of learning how to create them. And that's exactly why I'm hosting the Deal Flow Machine workshop. Again, on Tuesday, May 19th, I'm going to walk you through the exact 5-component system I use to find on-market and off-market storage deals live on Crexy, live on Google Maps. You'll watch me hunt real deals, and then you'll have an opportunity to do the same. You're also going to get some insanely valuable bonuses: the owner code, the buy box blueprint, my best performing direct mail letters that have been responsible for landing me numerous storage deals, and a private one-on-one call with me, all for just $47. So grab your spot. We are limiting this because we're going to be doing live Q&A as well. Now, back to the podcast. Simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. Those are two different things. They're very distinct. But if you commit to this rhythm daily, then you're going to put yourself in a position to win and ultimately succeed. I want to share with you, I think it's 10 points I have for you here that I want to break down and these are big picture things that I think can really help you from a mindset perspective and how you want to approach this the first 30 days here. I want you to already be thinking and acting like an owner from day one. All right. One of the ways you do this is I believe in working in sprints, not working in marathons. So this can be referred to as the Pomodoro method. You can just Google it or ChatGPT it, but I want you to block off 60 to 90 minutes. Okay. And consider this like your storage power hour each day. And I want you to track 3 important key performance indicators, KPIs. That's meaningful conversations, the offers that you make, and your follow-up conversations. Adding 25 new opportunities or mom and pop storage facilities to your list every single day. Owners and business owners and entrepreneurs, they track important KPIs. They measure the inputs and they eliminate the excuses. All right. Focus on the inputs. The outputs will eventually come. Number 2 is the Capital Connections Network. We talked about that in the cash flow map system, and it's part of one of the blue projects in our storage wins triangle model. I want you to have a capital conversation every single week. So why? Because you want to dig your well before you're thirsty. Yes, I do believe if you find the right opportunity, the money and the capital will come. But I don't want you to wait until the last minute and scramble. I want you to plant those seeds now. I want you to dig your well before you're thirsty. So talk to one new private lender or banker each and every week. All right. Share with them your buy box blueprint. Share with them your why. You're building your money network and you're having capital conversations before you ever need it. So number 3 is underwriting reps, those repetitions, because repetitions breed confidence. Preparation breeds confidence. So set a timer. This can be, ideally, you're carving out at least 90 minutes to work on your business, on your storage business, not in it. And 90 minutes, that could be 15 to 30 minutes of just practicing underwriting. And that could be quick deal underwriting. That could be deeper analysis. Don't chase perfect spreadsheets, but I just want you to build muscle memory. Start to look at offering memorandums. Start to look at deals and say, hey, how do I quickly, what's the revenue? What if I was to use my operating expense ratio? What would the NOI be based on a certain cap rate? What would that put the value at? Where are the rates in the market and what's the gap or the delta there? So just start looking at opportunities more and start building those underwriting reps. I think is extremely important to your success, especially the first 30 days. And by the way, if what I just shared with you sounds like Chinese or you have no idea what I'm talking about, go back to that section of the cash flow map system and watch those videos because that'll help you get a better understanding of it, along with the tools and resources that I shared there. Number 4, relationships first, transactions second. Think long-term, not short-term. All right. The person that is thinking transactionally, not my kind of person, not my jam. I want to connect with the people that are thinking long-term, thinking relationally. Every single touch point is a chance to build trust. So that's super, super important. When you connect with people, don't ask for something. Don't be the one with your hand out always looking for something. Be the one with 2 hands out looking to give something to somebody. And then eventually you can make that ask when the time is right. But do it with the intention that you're not going to get anything in return, but you're just seeking to connect and contribute. Super, super important. To me, it's relationship building 101. Number 5 is I want you to do a weekly debrief. Okay, this can be a meeting with yourself. It could be a meeting with your virtual assistant or somebody on your team, but every Saturday, or maybe it's at the end of Friday, end of your work week, spend 20 minutes with yourself and say, hey, what worked this week? What went well? Let's celebrate those wins. What didn't? What do I need to change, tweak, or modify moving forward? And then set an intention for the following week. Okay, that is how you operate with a level of intentionality that gets you moving forward, building progress and momentum. Don't just wake up on Monday morning at the start of your work week saying, hey, okay, let me figure this out. What do I have to do first? No, think about that. Spend a late Friday or early Saturday morning planning out the next week, looking back, celebrating what worked, figuring out what needs to change, and then setting an intention for the start of the week, right? Plan your day the night before, something I've been doing for years, and it's super, super helpful. And then I would encourage you in the Storage Wins Facebook group, post any reflections inside of that group, all right? If you're a part of our Storage Wins community, then you know where to go. We have a private portal. Share that in that community as well. Obviously, you know you're going to get a ton of support, encouragement, and we got your back. Number 6 is think of this as like a visual pipeline. So if you have a simple CRM, it could be a Google spreadsheet or whatever CRM you're working with, identify opportunities, and this can be a simple cold, warm, hot system. That way you know which leads and opportunities to prioritize. Number 7 is let's celebrate your wins, even the micro wins. Every time you hit a goal or every time you take a step forward, share that in the community. Put hashtag win in all caps and post it in the group. That's going to start to build your momentum. You're going to gain a certain level of excitement and energy from that. And one of the reasons we call our coaching community storage wins is because I'm a big advocate and believer of get clarity about the desired end goal you have and why you want it, which in our case, it's in your case, maybe to buy your first or your next storage deal. But we can't really control that. What we can control is our mindset, our thoughts, our actions, and how we react to things. So focus on the daily, weekly, monthly activities that when done consistently will put you in a position to achieve that big storage win. And that's really the heart of this particular AMP training video here. It's to get you off on the right foot in the first 30 days. Number 8, you went through the market map and you would have already selected your market. So spend some time each week, like diving deep into your market and really understanding and learning it. The population, if it's growing, if it's not, why, what opportunities and jobs are coming in, why are people moving in or out? What's the median household income? How does that affect storage? The population of renters in the area, certain pockets or segments within that market. The competition, are rates trending up? Are they stagnant? Are they trending down? Be the expert, be the big fish in a small pond, all right? And that's why I love smaller tertiary markets, maybe even certain secondary markets. So super, super important that you just become a pro, act like a professional, act like an owner. Number 9 is find an accountability partner. Pair up with somebody inside of the Storage Wins Facebook group. Or if you're already in our Storage Wins community, then you likely already have an accountability or numerous accountability partners. Just a simple 15-minute weekly check-in can be extremely, extremely powerful. I know that whenever I have accountability partners, and I oftentimes do, I show up different because I know they're going to ask me. And I don't want to be that dude that didn't follow through with what I said I was going to do. All right, super, super important. And then finally, like, have fun here. Like, document the journey. You might want to consider keeping a simple journal. Lessons learned, wins, challenges, frustrations. Like, get that out, right? You're a human being. Like, it's all right to sometimes be in the fields, but just don't stay in a low energy state. Track conversations, offers, lessons. Like, clarity comes oftentimes from reflections. And that's one of the reasons I'm such a big proponent of masterminds and joining the right communities like Storage Wins, because you have others that you can connect with and share these reflections, and they're going to share with you, and together we win and we grow together. Super, super important. If you haven't seen the first amplifier training video, which is the Freedom Accelerator, highly encourage you to watch that. So as we start to kind of wind down here, let me just spend 4 or 5 minutes talking to you about like the potential structure for like week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4. So think of week 1 as your launch pad. If you're following our process, you would have already added about 150 or so owners to your list. So now you have 150 mom and pop storage opportunities. You would have already had 15 to 20 meaningful conversations. Think about how powerful that could be to have 15 to 20 meaningful conversations with storage owners, brokers, lenders, bankers, wholesalers, etc. You would have analyzed or looked at 7 deals. You would have already made your first potential soft offer. Now, maybe you don't feel confident to make an offer in the first week. That's okay. But if you're doing the work, I want you to take that massive imperfect action. And maybe by week 2, week 3 at the latest, you're already making your first offer. Week 2, think of this, if I was going to kind of theme these out, right? Week 1 is your launch pad. Week 2 can be like your pipeline builder, where you're continuing to add opportunities to your list. You're now in follow-up mode. You're still having meaningful conversations with people. You're having capital connection conversations. You're now submitting 1 to 2 letters of intent. You've connected with a lender, a partner. So So week 2 is really where you're building on week 1, and you're going to see how quickly you adapt and you learn, especially when you're following the cash flow map system. And if you want to put that on steroids, especially if you're part of the Storage Wins community. Week 3, think of this as like your offer engine. Now you're submitting hopefully 2 to 3 offers. You're getting feedback and learnings from brokers or a coach if you're working with me or somebody inside of our Storage Wins community. You start to just really stack the small wins. You're starting to gain some progress and momentum. And speaking of momentum, that's what week 4 is about, momentum maker. You're continuing to follow up on offers. Maybe at this point now, since you have a pretty healthy list, you might have 300 to 400 opportunities. Now you maybe think about doing a small direct mail campaign, relatively inexpensive, and it could yield some really powerful results for you. You're analyzing your KPIs. How many people have you added to your list? How many meaningful conversations have you had at this point? And the follow-ups, okay? Having a follow-up system built out. How many deals are you analyzing or have you analyzed? And then how many offers have you made? And then you're going to start to be able to figure out what's working for you, what's not. You can start to refine your process. Remember, this isn't about perfection, right? I would much rather you step into the game, step up to the plate, swing the bat. It's okay if you strike out, all right? It's okay. It's going to happen. If you think, to continue on with the baseball analogy, Hall of Famers, the best of the best, fail 70% of the time, right? In order to get into the Hall of Fame, the cream of the crop, you're only going to succeed about 30% of the time, all right? The cool thing about storage is that it just takes 1, 2, maybe 3 solid deals for it to make a significant impact on your life, all right? And that's been my experience. So look, what separates those who close from those who quit, it's not talent. It's really just a mindset of I'm going to persist, I'm going to be consistent, and I'm going to be willing to be coachable and held accountable. So if I was going to summarize all this into 3 points, we want progress over perfection, because done beats perfect every single time and twice on Sunday. You want to measure your inputs. You focus on the controllables. Control your actions. The results are going to follow. Massive imperfect action, because clarity is going to come from doing. You're going to learn so much more by implementing what we've talked about than you are by continuing to be in consumption mode of just consume content. It's going to make you feel good, but that's not really progress. So the first 30 days, it's not about closing a deal, right? What I've shared with you, Jeremy and Marianne going under contract in 31 days, Casey McKillop closing his first deal in 91 days. That happens, but I don't want you to set that bar. I don't want you to be like, okay, if I'm not under contract in 30 days, or if I haven't closed in 90 days, like I failed. Everybody's on a different journey. Look, when I first got into storage, it took me 9 months to close my first deal. Now, admittedly, I spent the first 3 months not really taking massive imperfect action. All right. And that's why I'm able to hop on here and confidently share with you what not to do and what to do, because I know what works. All right. So this is about consistency. Consistency is going to give you confidence. Confidence is going to lead to additional clarity. And clarity eventually, once you stack all these together, will lead to closings. Closings will lead to cash and cash flow. So it's all about the C's here. So look, here's your challenge. Commit to this LMAO method for the first 30 days. Post your daily wins inside of the Storage Wins Facebook group, and encourage others. Like, ask for feedback, be coachable, especially when you're working with the right person. Make sure that you're willing to be held accountable. Find an accountability partner, very, very important. And I'm confident, do this for 30 days. You're going to have a real pipeline. You're going to have a lot more repetitions and reps and at-bats. You're going to have to already start building laying the foundation for building real relationships and gaining real progress and momentum. So don't seek for permission. Like, you have everything you need. Now I need you to just go out there and get it, like one LMAO day at a time. So here's the truth. Most people who go through training like this never fail because they lack the knowledge. They fail because they never take consistent action. What I always talk about inside of our community, massive imperfect action. But I can tell you that if you commit to the next 30 days, building your list, having meaningful conversations, analyzing at least a deal a day, and then making offers weekly, you're going to start to build something incredibly powerful. And that's momentum, because momentum is what eventually leads to your first storage deal. So don't overthink this. Follow the simple LMAO method. Track your actions and your activities, plug into the Storage Wins Facebook group, and take massive imperfect action every single day, because clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. So with that being said, I want you to go out there, start building your storage business one meaningful conversation at a time, one deal at a time, one step at a time.